Yes. only thing I've done is messed with this. I turned it down. Public meeting that you had issues with.
I might,
Those 16 gift places,
Oh, yeah.
that's from people that respond, thank you.
Some of the exact same wording on some.
Hold on a minute.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you need a packet?
sure. I got it on my phone, but I'll take it. The bigger the better.
Yes, and here's some things that we got from neighbors.
Sean, are we ready? Get one minute left. Okay. At this time, we'd like to call the Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting to order. We'd like to welcome each person in attendance here. The first item of business will be the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to these? If not, we entertain a motion to approve as written and dismiss with reading.
So moved.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? If there being none, call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Okay, the next item of business is a variance request, and this is on Lagoon Drive. Is someone here to present this? State your name for the record.
My name is Trevor Barodiak.
Okay.
I'm here on behalf of my parents, Edward and Celestine Barodiak. Basically, we're gonna put in a double wide modular home for them on the back of the lot that they currently own. My dad's 90, my mom's 85. My dad's currently in Riverview at the assisted living center. And I'm gonna fix this up for him so that he can live in the house with my mom for the last 4 or 5 years, whatever they have. We're just a little bit short in the back, I think 10 or 15 feet, something like that. And we're just asking that to, the variance to be approved, so we can set this in for them.
The lot is a very shorter width, much
Right,
longer lot. And so you see that you need that 50 feet just to be able to get that site in. And so, so that's the perception. The back lot line slopes just a little bit, so it's gonna be about 10 feet on the back half of that lot line and then about 15 on the front. So we just go to do a 15-foot variance, it'll be a 35.
It's still a very nice lot.
Yes.
Does any board members have any questions for Trevor while he's up here? Anyone in the audience here to address this on Lagoon Drive?
This is similar to some other variances
Yeah.
that we've.
Yeah, it was still pretty much lined up.
Yeah.
I didn't see a problem with it myself.
Okay.
Actually, again, it's just a narrow lot, so, you know, really good, have to really narrow house to get it.
Okay. What's the opinion of the board?
I feel good about it. We've approved variances like this before. There's nothing.
I make a motion to approve the request for variance.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any more discussion? If there being none, we call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next request is for special exception. This is on Wagner Street. Is someone here to present that for us, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I actually own the land there at Wagner Street, and we did get this rezoned. I'm wanting to make it into one lot, with some duplexes kind of inside of that with a private drive. Make it really similar to, sorry,
Did we get your name? I'm sorry.
Fleet Swan. Yeah. really similar to like the houses that are built, architecture, you know, up on top of the road, I guess, north of that. And I have an engineer that has done some concept designs, and, we've looked at the codes to see exactly what we can do to, you know, instead of dividing this up into different lots, just making it one lot and putting density on that one lot, so.
Okay. Do you have something you'd like to
I
add?
do, yes. This is very general in nature at this point. But if we kind of give you an idea, the number of units would be less than what it showed, because we know we've pulled a little bit more out of the low karst area, the low sinkhole area. So right now we're showing 46 units, which would be, you know, what we would call 2 units, duplex units. So again, this is just general in concept. This would be a private driveway, all private within the development.
We also plan on putting like privacy fences on the side, you know, from where the newer houses that are built.
What,
Yes.
what's the diameter of the cul-de-sac there?
I think we've drawn it at 100-foot diameter. Is what we have drawn it.
So garbage trucks and stuff could make
Oh,
a
yes,
complete
yes.
circle.
So it would be designed pretty much to a city street standard, but it would remain private.
Now, if you're here in the audience, we'll give you a chance to comment on this, if you want to come on. Sean, you want to comment first on this?
So with this, I do want to clarify, originally, because it does say 6 duplexes on this. We kind of talked originally, was thought was going to be subdivided, and so that's kind of where that came from. As far as the lot size, it could work with additional units, as far as coverage, that wouldn't be an issue.
And we're willing to work with the city on,
Yeah.
on.
And so we'll have to look at that too, because once you have a certain amount of units, then from the fire code, you have different aspects on that too, so, but that could be looked at prior to development.
This is
Outside
all
that, the
flow.
property is zoned R2, it's pretty good sized property, I believe it is 5.29 acres. That did get rezoned R2, which is touching here, and then there's some commercial in the back. It does meet all the minimum requirements, multi-family, special exception development.
Okay, does any board members have any questions for these gentlemen?
Is this gated? Is this, I mean, it says private drive, is this, I mean, you got a gate, I mean, what?
I don't think it will have an actual, like, private gate, but, it will be a private drive.
Be like a PUD or something like that, I guess?
It'd be similar, so a lot of times on multi-family, the road goes coming in, it's like anything, it's has to be built to city standard, but maintenance and all that would be private and more stuff.
We're just trying to go more towards, getting the demographic that wants kind of lower maintenance, you know, yards that actually have something nice.
At this time, if there's someone in the audience that would like to come forward and express your opinions on this, this is your chance to come forward, state your name, and tell where you live for the record.
Charlie Willard. I live at 425 Old Morrison Road, which this property is borderlines the south edge of my property.
Okay.
And I just have concerns about it because I just bought this property in February. And me and several of our other neighbors that couldn't be here because of it, their daytime jobs didn't allow them to be here, would have concerns about this. We didn't know exactly what they've set up to do, but we have a wooded area behind our property that we have wildlife and everything back there, and we just don't want to. We bought this property because of the view, and we didn't want to look at apartments or whatever behind us. We like the wooded area. And we don't know whether this is going to be destroyed because of this.
Is the wooded area part of your property or part of?
Some of it is.
Okay, so they couldn't do anything to your portion anyway?
Right. But we don't really know what, we're just concerned about the extra added traffic, the noise. And, you know, we bought our residence and we have quite a bit of money invested in them. That, you know, they're all new properties. We just purchased them and then we find out this is gonna happen.
You know, to address your concern, I mean, I think that everything that we're gonna do is gonna keep it kind of private, like a little cul-de-sac. And if there is any areas that need to have fencing or anything to make it more private, you know, we're definitely gonna be up to doing that, you know, for you guys that join and for people that would also be living there. And
Yeah, you're aware of where our properties are at, right? And that's mainly what I'm concerned about is just the extra traffic, the noise.
we definitely are not gonna do anything that's gonna decrease the property value for you.
Okay. That's what we're concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else would like to comment on this?
And we provided you guys with a couple emails.
Yes, we did get a couple of emails on this.
Would you read the emails from the neighbors?
Yes. And
Yes.
they do copies of this. Did you want to speak, sir?
Did you want to speak?
I agree with Charlie on the issue.
Just come forward and state, we have to record all this, so state your name and where you live.
Dennis Andrew, I live at 421 Old Morrison Road,
Okay.
and I have the same concerns that most of us do there. I mean, we've got speeding issues right there on Old Morrison Road right now. It's pretty bad. I almost got hit the night I moved in by a car. He went right around the moving vehicle that was trying to get in the driveway. He was doing plus 50, and he missed me by that much. So we've got an issue there too.
Sure.
So is there gonna be more traffic on Old Morrison Road with this going in? No.
I wouldn't imagine any traffic impacts on Old Morrison because the main access is
Well,
gonna
there's-
be Wagner, kind of dead ends right into this
Is it
property.
gonna-
Yeah, this is Old Morrison Road, and this is the end black.
This is the property.
Yeah, you're
So
talking
this
about
is
this
Wagner
road up
Road
here,
here.
that's not gonna be impacted.
Is the drive gonna be on, 55? Is it coming off 55?
Oh, I get what you're asking, yeah. So they're talking about that dead end right there coming out to Wagner. It's not gonna be dumping out onto Morrison there.
So the traffic will be coming down Black or Smith to Wagner, and then get the private drive into that property.
Right.
I just had a
So that's
concern
just
about
gonna
that.
be
Yeah.
right coming in and call
Yeah,
us back.
private drive in and cul-de-sac.
They've developed it about as well, looks like, as you could do to use the area to protect the neighborhood.
We're all working hard trying to, you know, improve our
Sure, I
properties
understand.
right now and stuff. We're spending a lot of money and, you know, we just have concerns about it, that's all. So, I did want to address the traffic issue. It's getting pretty bad.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to comment on this?
You wanna call now sometime?
Yeah, sorry I'm late, I had a work meeting right over. I just moved to.
State your name and your address.
William Parnell Rutherford, 423 Old Morrison Road.
Okay.
I just moved to address in August, so very excited to be part of the city. I heard there's 16, they want to put 8 duplexes, is that correct?
Something like that.
I guess my concern is currently they're adjacent to mostly single-family homes. I know there's the housing authority up the street. 16 duplexes, a lot of people to pack into a 5-acre area where you have most of the other single-family homes adjacent listed on 1-acre lots. And so I'm concerned about the number of new housing that they're wanting to put in there. You know, ideally, I want them to, I don't mind them putting something in there, I think it will raise property values as opposed to having undeveloped land. I just think that maybe we need to look at, or, need to think about how many we're putting in there. Prefer them to be, I think most people on the street would prefer them to be single-family homes versus duplexes where you're gonna pack more people into a smaller area.
Thank you very much.
So Sean, we are looking at 16, at a max 16 units, is that correct?
It could be a max, so like I said, originally, this is what we were looking at. The max would be what could fit based off of land. So this, in R2 under the special exception, it's gotta meet the R3 zone district requirements, which is 5,000 for the first unit, 3,000 for each additional unit.
Right.
Maximum, plus your parking, your roadways, all that kind of stuff comes into there. And so this would be a little bit more than that, but the max could be what that would be, with also taking into consideration drainage and what's down here. I believe if I'm thinking like, there's a car leaving some
That's
stuff down
why
here that would.
you can see, just off the
With
cul-de-sac.
the buffer zone.
Yeah.
South
Yeah.
cul-de-sac, so just kind of to address the buffering, as you can see, there's treat areas along here, that buffer that would remain, but all of that low sinkhole area, that vegetation would remain in it as well.
So this tree line up here along the border,
So,
so the neighboring properties would remain.
so as much of a buffer that we can hold there.
Vegetation
of existing trees.
Yeah, by putting this in the center of the lot, if you were to divide this into lots, these houses would be pushed closer to you guys versus putting them in the center. Like this.
So your plan is to put most of the duplexes up more
Yeah.
towards?
Well, there would be a road that would go through the center of the property and then be right off of that main road versus splitting it all up into lots. And you have to put houses with setbacks closer to your property lines.
Okay. Do we have any more questions on this?
So I'm confused why you have 42 units on this drawing. Is that,
Well, when we looked at if getting a R2 with a special exception, there wasn't even like any wording on how many.
Well, we are actually less dense here than what Sean has said, about 5,000 to 3,000 square feet.
But what we're considering is 16 duplexes, so why are we looking at 40-something, I guess?
So duplexes could go in, we did an option early on without a special exception, just under the base zone of the R2. But we're asking for a special exception to be able to put in this private development multifamily. The density that would be met would be what can go in under the R3 zone. And then we're not showing that we can fit near that density in.
And so with this, again, this was my original thought to leave with this, so that number of duplexes came off the, I think, the original concept of dividing that into individual R2 lots.
Right.
With that, and so that's that number. The request can exceed that number because you guys haven't voted on it yet. So this number could still be approved through this process on this, it just as long as it meets all the requirements and you guys approve.
Yeah, this is all just preliminary. I mean, we can work with the city.
Well, for us to consider, it's a lot of difference between
42 and 16.
16 and 42. I mean, we need to be clear what we're considering here, like Joy said.
I don't mind approving
What-
16, but I don't think 42.
What is the difference in the allowances for R2 and R3, Sean, with the multifamily like this?
Lot sizes.
So if you're getting into multifamily, so R2, you have 7,500 square foot minimum lot size if you're creating individual lots for a single family dwelling, 10,000 for a duplex. And then you have 75 foot width, your setback requirements on that. The moment you go to multifamily, which is 3 units or more per definition, then it kicks it into R3, and based off of that, your density is 5,000 square feet for the first unit, 3,000 square feet for each additional unit thereafter. And then you gotta build meet your parking requirements, your off-street parking requirements, and then your roadway and your drainage features, they gotta be in there. So you're gonna take that base acreage of 5.29 acres, 230,432.4 square feet, give or take, and then break that down, and that essentially gives you your max numbers, plus your off-street parking and all that kind of stuff. But you guys could also set a max if to 42 if you're not comfortable with that.
This is all just a preliminary kind of concept idea that, you know, instead of dividing up in lots and we do it just as one lot, Sean wanted some concept idea, and so this.
Okay, what we're looking at here, staff recommends approval of special exception request for multifamily not to exceed 16 units. That's what we come to,
And that's what I had on there based off that original.
not
that
40
original
something.
concept.
So I guess my question is, with duplexes under R2 without a special exception, what number of units would we be looking at if that piece of property were just developed as, without a special exception?
23, right? So it's 230,000 square feet and they get 10,000 per duplex in the current setup. So you could have 23 currently. Is that
Well,
the,
per regulation, but feasibly with the topography and
Seacom
karst
and
and.
different things there.
Like,
And then you gotta take your lot within your consideration too on that, so.
you have to have a
We have
setback?
done that. That was the initial concept with those public street and 75-foot frontage lot we had said. And that's what we're saying. We got 6 to 7 duplexes. We got roughly 14 units in at the R2, no
Sure.
special exception.
And I don't think,
Zone. And that's where,
we probably wouldn't have a problem at all with that.
and I guess we're, under the R2, we're good to have that without the special exception, but yes, to get some multifamily in, to get some density to help pay for this, then that's where multifamily, the request for the special exception.
Well, this impacts, though, like they said, it's gonna affect the traffic somewhere in that area. You put that many units, it's just so much different than what we came to consider.
But Leaf is, as he stated, he's open to, if y'all want to set a cap on the maximum number of units, we're just showing what roughly could go in at 46. But if you feel that is excessive, you would need to be at 30 units, for example, then I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
would be open to.
I'm open to work with the
Well, a
city.
little of our considerations, what's legal, a little is, if we lived in that area, what would we feel comfortable with? I mean, that's part of our consideration.
and I think that to look at the surrounding zoning where you've got R1 and then you've got R2, to do a special exception for R3 use, to me, might be pushing that a little bit. Especially if it, by not granting a special exception, we're talking about, like, 2 units? If you can get 14 units in under R2, and then you can get to, and we're talking about 16 units in with a special exception, what ultimately is going to, what are the other impacts that are gonna be, down the line with this special exception? Is it just the number of units, or are there other R3 zoning allowances that are going to go along with this special
Because
exception?
So the R,
This is what we
with the zoning, it's not an R3 allowance.
Okay.
Each unit just has
This
those
is showing
individual specific units that are
42.
either permitted or
I don't
fall
think
under that
16
special
is
exception.
okay.
With the R2, when you fall under that special exception, the way it reads is kicking over to meet the R3 density lot requirements, and that's the only thing that applies. No other use of R3 could go into that
Okay.
lot because it's not zoned R3.
Okay.
that make sense?
So we're really just looking at a difference of 2 units here. Is that-
No, we're actually looking at 42.
Well, if we go through with a special exception approval for not to exceed 16
Yeah,
units,
yeah. That's the confusion, is looking
Then-
at this, and then
And what they're asking.
we gotta be
for.
careful what we approve, if we approve something.
I'm having trouble with 16 units, the 42, that's just too many.
16 units is 8 buildings, right? Correct?
Yeah.
But you could do that under R2 and
you
not
do
even be here.
14 units under R2 is what you all have said that you came up with.
I think that's right, but that, you know, like, that is considered what we can do in the drainage area towards the bottom.
Toward the south.
Yeah.
So if it's a single lot, that 10,000 per, basically, it doesn't matter where in that lot that they're sitting?
So if it's individual lots, they would have to create those individual lots and meet those individual lot requirements.
But if it's just one giant, if it all stays in like undivided lot, then those could be stacked anywhere around in that big lot.
Yes, it'd be based
Okay.
on that density.
And considering the topography of this lot, you know, like, it slopes down quite a bit from where those, kind of shotgun lots are, that those houses that were built. And so to pay to put, you know, multifamily in there, instead, if I could stay away from the drainage areas and put a little bit more density in there, that's kind of what I'm shooting for, to help pay for the whole project. And I'm willing to work with the city on whatever. But the special exception comes in because of the topography of the land, and putting a little bit more density there.
Well, it's hard for
And
us
I'm
to.
not trying to exceed, you know,
Yeah.
make it an unsafe neighborhood. I would never want to do that. You know, I have kids, I wouldn't want to do that for anybody that has kids or anybody else in that area.
But it's hard for, I don't mean to interrupt, it's hard for us to consider something when we have no idea what we're considering, so.
Well, there might have been like a communication between us and Sean, you know, it's tough getting, I have a very busy schedule, I'm sure he does, and so it's, you know.
So I guess maybe to put it this way, under the R3, I calculated a minute ago with the 5,000, 3,000, you get 75 units in this 5.62 acre. If you had to develop it under an R2 without special exception, we're saying we could get about 14 units in. You're seeing this at 46 units, but he's willing to take and loosen that up and get to about 30 units and still make a development that works, that keeps out of the drainage area that we are already showing out of, but we would have more spaced out units to stay out of the drainage area, but we would be asking for less.
Sean, why don't we just table this and let them come back with a plan that we can, I mean, we're just stabbing in the dark here, and it's not fair to the neighborhood or us or anybody else, in my
Well,
opinion.
here's the problem though, is that we were actually put on the docket like a month ago, and I wasn't told, and so we couldn't actually come. So now that I've been put on the docket for this month, you know, we have to rearrange all our schedules to be here. So this would be going on the 3rd.
But we're required, so you should have been here at the other meeting.
I wasn't
There was a
aware.
miscommunication.
I wasn't aware.
Everyone else has to come, so, you know, we can't make an exception for you because, you know, we don't consider it, if somebody don't come present it, then we don't
I
consider
didn't
it.
even know I was on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
That's the
That
problem.
was our,
Yeah, that was
Well,
not.
we apologize
Yeah,
for that.
I had no idea.
So I think some of the issue that we're running into is a miscommunication on numbers. What the locals, right, the people that live around here are worried about is 16 buildings, is a ton of buildings, right? 16 units is 8. That's a drastically
Yes,
different spread out of that, right?
Is different than 16 duplexes.
Yeah. And I think that is some of the worry, and that's where we're sitting right now, is this is 42's a ton of units, right? We're still 21 buildings into this thing at this point in time. 30's 15 this is getting a lot of construction in this space, and I think that's kind of the worry. The 16, what's on this, what's being asked for, the 8 duplexes isn't crazy back there on 5 acres, that's not a lot. But if we're starting to do special exceptions, I think what's going to happen is we'll end up saying, sure, you can have 16 units. And that's going to limit you further, but I don't know. I think my worry is are you shooting for 60, or are we going for 30, or are we looking for 42? Like, what exactly, do you guys have a number? Is this something that you can work with staff on and come up with something that looks good to bring in kind of a
I
complete?
mean, like I said, again, we're open to work with the staff on that. There has been a lot of communication with that. The reason for a little bit of increase in density is because of the topography of the land in that area. And I'm not trying to do something crazy, but obviously I'd like to try to get as much as I could in the area to make it, somewhat profitable. Because putting in a road, I mean, that's a lot of money, putting all those in. And it would increase the property value of that whole area in that corner. I don't think it would be crazy for traffic from a cul-de-sac coming in and out. If you were doing it on a thoroughfare road, I mean, yes, that would be something else. But you're talking about in and out of a cul-de-sac.
So with the numbers, and you guys are certain exactly what it's gonna be, is that the main concern at this point? Okay, don't wanna, since we've had the disconnect and not to delay this any more than what's necessary, can we table it for a week and reconvene next Tuesday with a more detailed plan that?
Yeah, but
Is that
I don't
possible?
think I would be able to be here then, honestly.
You don't think you could be here on the 12th?
It would be hard. Because
It's hard for the board. I mean, this is a
Right.
board that works.
but I have schedules of
Yeah,
like
we do
in
too.
2 months out
Yeah.
that
So I get, what I am still unclear about is the request for a special exception for 8 duplexes? Because that is what I am
That's what we're going
reading.
to
That is what I
consider.
am reading, is 8 duplexes, 16 units. And then I still go back to, if we can get 14 units, 7 duplexes in R2, and we're just trying to squeeze a little bit more money out of here, personally, as a board, ethically, I would feel more comfortable just saying, this is zoned R2, and this is what the city has laid out. That's me personally, especially with your surrounding R1, with your surrounding R1 and R2. I think that density is appropriate for the areas as they are zoned, the surrounding areas as they're zoned currently. But if it is a matter of, limiting this to 1 more duplex, and we can do that as a board within the scope of what governs a special exception, then we can vote on that.
It could be a possibility.
But,
I think you've expressed pretty much how the board feels. So if y'all want to come back at your convenience with something for us to look at.
Could I ask, because multifamily would allow this to be done as 1 lot, if you think your number permissible.
This is R2, correct?
this is R2.
Yes, if a permissible density is 18 units slash, divided by 2, 9 duplexes, or you think it's 8 duplexes, which equals 16 units, then the important part is being able to get this special exception for the multifamily, and if you set a cap on the number of units. Yes, you would like to feel this as a private development, where if it stays under R2 without a special exception, it has to be done as a public street, individual lots. So, you know, I guess I'm hearing you say that 8 units would be permissible, or 9 units.
I think she said 7. Thought you said 7.
I mean, I'm saying what I am.
Seven's without the special exception.
Yeah.
7's without the special
Yeah.
exception, but what I am seeing here is the request is for 8 duplexes, a total of 16 units.
And we have considered impact on the neighborhood and several things that,
And you know, like, listen to the concerns of them, this being in the middle of this lot as one versus divided up in different lots would help them more than, you know, putting this all in different lots and having houses and duplexes right next to their property.
well, you have setbacks and stuff, it would be right next to it. So there's certain things you still have to meet. What's the desire of the board? We've got more of this out.
What is the, if we do, move to approve the special exception and we put a limit on the number of units, is that binding for?
Yes.
And so the main difference would then be the way that it is situated, you wouldn't have to subdivide it,
Correct.
and you would not have to have city street
That's
access,
correct.
it could be
Private.
private.
And from that regard, that's not something that's out of line at the
At-
16 units doesn't feel bad like that. But trying to cram a ton of them in there seems like the wrong way to go.
I would agree with that, so I make a motion to approve a special exception with no more than 8 duplexes, 16 units.
16 units.
Well, you want to say 16 units then? Sean, how do we need to do this?
I would probably see 8
8
duplexes.
Okay.
duplexes.
That's equivalent.
Okay.
Or you could say 16 units because it's 3 or more units.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Have a second. Any more discussion? Y'all understand what we're doing, we're coming from 40-something down to 16, okay.
Hey, like,
We haven't voted yet.
Are you withdrawing, or you want us to vote on it?
I was just gonna sit down, but we can still stand.
Oh, I thought he was withdrawing or something.
No, I'm sitting down.
Okay, well, we're gonna vote right now, we have a motion and a second.
Any other discussion?
Any more discussion, there being none, call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries, okay. Thank y'all all for being here.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. So moved. We carried the motions and seconds there, so go back.